City Council meeting of November 13th, 2024 to order. Ms. Cassandra,
Mayor David Romero,
here.
Councilor Marvin Martinez,
Present.
Councilor Barbara Casey,
Here.
Councilor Michael Montoya, Councilor David Ulivari,
And Councilor Libari is excused. He did have a medical procedure and he'll be out. He's excused.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Pro Tem, will you lead us in a pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Martinez, will you lead us in a moment of silence?
Yes, Mayor. At this point, I'd like to say, a big thank you for the city's involvement in removal of the snow. For those individuals that have to make treks to either doctor's appointments and their own personal needs for our community. I want to say thank you to those individuals that participated in every aspect. We have a lot of good employees in city government that work with the city. And a big thank you to City Manager Montgomery for putting all those angles together and making all of that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. And also a moment of silence for, we lost a leader in our community, Miss Diane Medrano, that passed away. A moment of silence for her. Councilors? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda is approval of the agenda, and we have one recommendation, which is removal of business item number 5. And that being is we are still waiting on the contract to be completely reviewed by our water attorney.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Martinez?
I'd like to see if we could move item 1 of the business items just after item number 9, City Manager's Report. If we could move that up.
Okay, so are you going with the recommendation of removing item 5 and moving item 1 to after City Manager's Report? And I'll entertain a motion with those amendments.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Councilor Martinez's motion.
Motion by Councilor Casey, do I have a second? Second by Councilman Martinez. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next on the agenda is public input. We have one individual for public input this evening, Ms. Ray Dawn Price, speaking on Samaritan funding.
Only tonight.
Aye. If you don't mind speaking into the mic.
Okay, is this okay?
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, council. I stand before you, or sit once again, to discuss the funding of the Samaritan House Homeless Shelter. We have had so many discussions, both here and privately, regarding this issue. For those who don't know me, my name is Ray Dawn Price. I am married to Jess Price, Price's Home Furniture. Obviously, my first issue is the location. With all of the planning that the city has done to revitalize our main street, I find it extremely ridiculous that a homeless shelter would be placed immediately near the train station. The lack of foresight is astonishing. In hindsight, I have witnessed the decline of one of our most beloved parks and neighborhoods in Las Vegas. As a real estate agent, the decrease in value for homeowners is shameful. As a mother, I am no longer able to take my children to the park and feel safe. Another waste of money was the revamping of that playground. The money would have been better allocated at another park because nobody is using that park for what it is there for. I think it would have been better spent at Keys or the Crestone Circle, honestly. And I am aware of the homelessness issue happening throughout the country. I'm active in the community, and I don't make this statement because I am cold-hearted. I'm here because not only has it affected me the way I mentioned above, but as a business owner, we have to hire people to come clean the alley. We are riddled with needles all over the place. There's fires constantly lit in our alleyway. The way our business is set up, we have to walk back there, and it's just not safe. Our business manager has to be escorted twice a day to the bank to go get the money in the morning and take the money at night. And that just, it's not safe for her. We've had men enter the business and cause threats, make threats against our lives. It's dangerous for our elderly employees like Della, who's sometimes in the building alone. Not only that, I don't think, obviously, it's going to be moved tomorrow. It's not going to be moved in the next year. So I'm here to ask you guys to be fiscally responsible with our money. We are one of the biggest tax dollar generators in town, and you guys are just, giving this money without any reporting or accounting given to you guys. How is that money being spent? If these people are so warm in the shelter, then why do they feel the need to come start fires in the alley? Why is there trash all over the place? Like, don't they have a place that they can use the trash? There's people having sex in the park. There's prostitution. There's drug deals. There's overdoses. It's just completely unsafe. I mean, you guys all drive down there. We all see it. It's just terrible, terrible. I mean, I understand that it's not the director's fault and, people are people, but it's not a shelter for people who want to get better. It's a place for them to go and party, and they just, kind of all gather around and play off of each other. Honestly, some of the residents there, when they're not at the shelter, they're actually well groomed. They are maybe perhaps on their medication or going to meetings, but while they're there, they're not receiving any help. It's just a free ride. And I think that you guys owe it to us to be responsible with the money that we give for you guys to take care of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes public input. Moving on to mayor's appointments, reports, recognitions, or proclamations.
So I'll start off with just a mayor's report real quick. Within the past 3 weeks, I've had the opportunity to join other mayors throughout the state via a Zoom, a mayor's caucus, kind of discussing all the issues that every community is dealing with. And, one of the items that we're dealing with here today, it's not only here in the city of Las Vegas, it's all over the state. Also had the opportunity to attend the Veterans Day celebration, the NMHU community game. And last but not least, I just want to acknowledge, city manager and all the staff, public works. I know we had from gas department, everybody out on the streets, cleaning the streets, our public safety officials, making sure that people stay warm and any accidents that they came across. So thank you guys, considering the amount of snow we got, it had been a long time that we had that type of snow. And I know that the EOC team was prepared for more snow, which was, I guess, something positive. So thank you guys. It was nice that you guys took care of it. I think, as far as the streets, a lot of community praise for how well the streets were done. So thank you guys. Now, I just also want to acknowledge that I know Mr. Marcus and I attended the Pass Forward conference a couple of weeks ago, and we'll be presenting on that next week. So, thank you. That's it.
Mr. Mayor, moving on to our councilors' reports.
Councilors?
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Councilor Casey?
Thank you. I also want to thank all of the city staff and the hardworking employees who are out there in terrible blizzard conditions, trying to clean up the streets and make Las Vegas safer, checking on people, doing welfare checks. They're just an amazing staff that we have, and I'm so honored and so proud to work with these wonderful employees that we have. And I hope that other people recognize their hard work and acknowledge them and thank them for their valuable service to us. I also want to give special thanks to Chief Span and the fire department and his ambulance crew. They're absolutely amazing men, and they're kind, passionate, patient, compassionate, and just wonderful human beings. And I'm honored to have met them and to, well, I already knew some of them, but still, they're just a wonderful bunch of men. And they rarely get any kind of recognition. And I think that people should know that not only do we have wonderful, police officers and other employees throughout the city, but our fire department is excellent as well, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Martinez?
Yes, I just wanted to report that I did attend a meeting with Highlands University a couple of weeks ago. And this was in reference to the pool that they have. And of course, that pool has, been in existence since the 1950s. Right now, it's basically broken down. And I think, if I'm sure that, the college Highlands University is seeking funding to either renovate or relocate another pool. And, that pool it's been pretty iconic for our community and surrounding areas in this whole entire area. People that have attended Highlands, students from both districts and our community. And right now, what they're trying to do is just, they're looking for ways to make sure that we can bring back that pool. And, if we get rid of items like that pool in our community, we start taking away from our community, our college, and so forth. And a thriving college and a thriving community is having the resources to have that backup pool for our community. It would be a backup pool compared to, including the pool that we have with the city. But it was a very informal, very, very, very good meeting that we had. A lot of people that ran the pool had attended that meeting, and it was a very proactive meeting. And I'd like to see that pool come back to our community. I'm not sure what direction it's finally going to go. There's going to be meetings moving forward, and we'll just have to see where it goes. But it's also, it assists our community. A lot of people have learned how to swim in that pool, and I think it's just a big thing for us to be in support of. That's pretty much all I have in my report.
Thank you, Councilor.
Mr. Mayor.
Pro Tem?
Yep. First of all, I want to start off by thanking Mr. Montgomery for his leadership and for being proactive on this storm. I think half the battle is being proactive, thinking ahead and preparing ahead. I know I've done that for 23 years and oversaw 196 lane miles of roadway with 13 men. And part of that battle is all in preparation, whether it's preparing departments or preparing facilities or whatever kind of planning it takes. Half of it is battle one is preparing and being proactive. So I thank you. And also I thank all the department heads for stepping it up. I think that this snowstorm was overwhelming and it was a blessing. But I think that this storm brought a lot of blessings as far as our water situation is concerned and so forth. And another other issues that were brought up to me, Mr. City Manager, was from our residents in town, is a property located at the 1200 block on 6th Street. Those residents are requesting speed bumps because I guess the students from the East Las Vegas High School go around the block between 5th and 6th, and they go speeding down that street. So I want to see the request for speed bumps there. And also residents over on John Street reported that they have high volume of speeders, and they're requesting speed bumps. We also had residents reporting a property that is boarded up on Tilden and 11th Street, has been boarded up for some time, but the high weeds, there's 6 tall weeds in that place and nobody's taking care of it. It's just abandoned. Also, residents reported the weeds out of control on another home on, what is it, on Calle Dulce, I believe it is. It's a property that has been vacant for a couple of years, and no one's taking care of the yard or anything like that. And then there's other places in town that, that they have reported me to, but I'll get on those with you down the road. I do want to thank Father Rob, because he got volunteers to finally clean that property on West National. That was really nice of him. And that's property had been, we had abated it once, but the weeds were still really high, and they went in there and cleaned it out with volunteers. So thank you to them for helping us out. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next item on the agenda is our city manager report. We have City Manager Tim Montgomery.
Leon, if I can get some help connecting, please. Hello, Mayor and Councilor. Thank you again for having me here tonight. I like starting with the first slide of good news, which is welcoming new employees. Within our animal care center, we've had Rachel Wells join us as an animal care technician. With the fire department, Joseph Smith, he's a firefighter. Police department, Santana Baca, a non-certified police officer. Justin Ramirez, non-certified police officer. With the senior center division, Alicia Baca, she's a driver helper. Selena Ortiz, driver cook. Solid waste division, Joshua Padilla, laborer. And then the water utilities department, wastewater division, Steve Bustos, wastewater operator in training. So we had 8 new hires in this last month. Going on to our city department updates, I wanted to start with solid waste. David Marquez has stepped in as interim director over solid waste, and he assures me that the solid waste grounds have been maintained and free of debris and litter, that work orders have been completed and they're being turned in on a timely manner. They're conducting audits of the commercial bins and the billing. The front-end loader is fixed and repaired. They're continuing with public awareness for the importance of bagging trash to avoid blowing debris, and continued challenge with filling necessary positions. One point I find quite interesting is the solid waste hauled to wagon mound, 1,315.55 tons in October, and the cost was $46,254.94. With community services, June has reported to me that all senior centers continue to provide congregate and home delivery services. The Las Vegas South parking lot is going through the final punch list stage. This was a $1.1 million grant, just as a reminder. Also, we had the 2 hot shot trucks. It's a $140,000 grant, and the city contributed $21,000 of city funds. Those vehicles are scheduled for production and anticipated deliveries in December or January. They were preparing for the AAA assessment audit that took place actually today. June will give an update here in next month or so. The Carnegie Library has been open 864 hours year to date, 222 hours in the month of October. We've had 698 walk-in patrons in the month of October and 3,168 year to date. Carnegie Library maintenance, there's many needs there. The roofing project is still underway. The front railings have rust they're trying to deal with. The rear railings to the building need complete replacement. There's also exterior painting of the wood that needs to take place. Basement needs plaster repairs. The elevator ceiling needs plaster repair. And then the exterior of the building needs drainage improvements and painting of the parking lot. Finance, the city's invested $113 million with the New Mexico State Treasurer's local government investment pool. and the total interest earnings at this point are $552,686.27. The finance director has been working on the final draft of the city's investment policy and will present that to the finance committee and then the governing body. The Parks Division, again, Jeff Rudolph has stepped in as the interim manager over parks. He's continued with mowing, grooming, weed eating, and trash removal at all the parks. They have repaired a broken water line at Carnegie Library, replacing 2 metal valves with Rainbird valves. The affluent water system has been shut down for the winter, and all meters to irrigate parks are closed for the season. Final cuts to all the turf areas has been done. They continue with leaf removal. Montezuma Pond area has been cleaned, cut of brush, shoots, and overgrowth. Both the 2021 and the 2012 John Deere Gators are in for repair. The Parks Division received a 2024 Ford 250, and this is through legislative appropriation. And Jeff has been working on conducting a full parks audit. There will be a presentation coming in December with all of the needs and the findings to the parks. The Recreation Center is currently being overseen by Mary Jean. The volleyball program concludes with a tournament on November 12th. The basketball program has had some challenges with the planning phase. However, there will be some date shifts for this league to continue. The fitness coordinator is planning the 2025 Health Challenge. There's a goal for 2025 Power Lift event. And then there has been damaged, broken workout equipment. It's been removed from the floor, and they're currently attempting to make repairs to that equipment. The teen intern group focused on communication and life skills. They're also working at cleaning various areas of the center. The CPO, or Certified Pool Operator Certification Training, is taking place this weekend, November 16th and 17th. So hopefully we get that pool open very soon. And then there's various maintenance efforts taking place at the center. My future presentations I have laid out here. I've been trying to be very strategic as far as bringing forward presentations from divisions or departments where we have interim management coming into place, giving them time to work in those divisions and come forward with what their efforts are. And then also as we have different issues take place through the city, bringing relevant presentations for the moment. And so right now, the gas department, David will come forward in November, as well as with solid waste. The parks audit presentation will be in December. Also, finance will be bringing forward the mid-year budget review in December. Human resources will be coming forward in January, giving an update of things taking place in HR. And we'll also have a grant funding update in January. I wanted to talk a little bit about the inclement weather situation we dealt with starting on Wednesday. The snowstorm started Wednesday. We had an early release of staff. I let them go at 2 o'clock so they could get home, get food, medications, take care of their families, and be prepared for the storm. And then about 8 o'clock the night of Wednesday, we initiated an emergency operations center, and we utilized the county administrative building. So we definitely want to thank the county for letting us use that space. We selected that space because of the electrical outage that we had earlier in the week. And we felt that building was the safest, best option for us. So I want to talk a little bit about an incident command system. This is a standardized approach to incident management that addresses a few things. It's used for all kinds of incidents by all types of organizations and at all levels of government. ICS is applicable to small incidents as well as large and complex ones. ICS helps assign personnel with the right expertise and training, activate only the positions needed for a given incident, hone and maintain skills for effective coordination. This is a federally mandated presidential directive from 2001. The ICS training would be taken within 90 days of hire or taking of office. I want to show some slides here that we used when we set up the ICS. Again, this took place about 8 o'clock Wednesday night. We had our first meeting Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. We did not feel that the snowstorm was a life-threatening event, but it was a great time for us to work with the system, get staff comfortable and used to the system and more understanding behind the system. So ICS provides a common structure and language for emergency responders to work together effectively. And ICS has 5 main functional areas. The gray boxes here include the county manager, myself as incident commander, our safety officer, liaison officer, which was Dennis, and a public information officer. Then we had our operations. The operations was Chief Marquez. We also had Deputy Operations Section, which was Jamie from the Sulzer Group. We also included Animal Control. We also included Snow Clearing, which was Arnold, and then Emergency Services Director, Chief Span. We had the planning functional area. This was Andrew from the Sulzer Group, as well as Josh. And these two really coached me through the process of using ICS and how to deploy it with our group. Again, it was a test. It was the first time that we had used the system in an environment like this, and so I got a lot of coaching. We selected Dominic to be our logistics section chief. If you'll recall, Dominic had gone through the tactical training with me maybe about 3-4 months ago. There was interest there, and although this is not necessarily an area Dominic has worked, it was a good person to put there so that we could have a full org chart and try to go through the process as best as possible. And then we had finance administration in the green, so we had Morris there as well as Jennifer for procurement. This group is what kept the communication flowing, okay? So an incident command system agenda is very specific. This is just an example. I did some screenshots. I apologize. It looks a little wonky on there. The agenda is very specific. It's a way of keeping the communication specific to certain questions and building through the agenda. So we did a safety briefing. We had our safety officer, Adrian, there to talk a little bit about the safety measures, concerns for the upcoming operational period. There's an emphasis on personnel safety during the incident itself. Then we moved into the review of the incident action plan and objectives. Our objectives were a way to focus on what is it that we should be addressing during this incident. We had 4 objectives that we focused on: safety, snow removal, and so forth. We reviewed those objectives with the full team to make sure there was clear understanding of what were we to do during this storm. Then we went into item number 3, which is refining the objectives and the priorities. And so we talked amongst the team of, was there any need of change for the objectives? Was there a way of prioritizing the roads for the snow removal, communication, and so forth? Then we moved into assigning the staff responsibilities, and this was based on the organizational chart that I presented. This is a way of clearly defining the roles and responsibilities for each command staff. It was a way to make sure there was no ambiguity, that there was full clarity if we had questions, who to go to, who was to be responsible, and make sure nobody else stepped out of their boundaries. Number 5 was communication and coordination. We wanted to confirm communication protocols and reporting procedures. Again, referring back to the organizational chart of who the supervisor was for each of the functional areas and flowing that communication then up to incident command. Then there was contingency planning for any issues that could occur. And then finally, a review of the meeting schedule that was going to take place through the day. Once we went through this agenda, that allowed us then to look at the situation status report. This is where we were looking at what are the current weather conditions and what was forecasted for the next 12 hours. We reviewed the operational summary again, road conditions, use of contractors, the warming center, critical infrastructure. We were looking for heavy loads of snow. Were we having issues with trees falling, portals falling, anything along those lines? Then we discussed resource status, the personnel. Did we have enough personnel in place? Did we have enough equipment in place? Were there any supplies that were needed? And then we moved into the upcoming activities and then issues and concerns. From this situation status report, we were able to build an incident action plan. This is a summary of everything we discussed during our agenda through the situation. This incident action plan, I gave you a copy just for your own reading at a different time. But the incident action plan summarized where we were at that given point in time, and we were able to use that with media. And that really helped reduce the media calls and the questions that they had for us. They could also see how well organized we truly were. The Sulzer Group has also put together an after-action report. I had asked for an after-action report because this is a new system for the city. We had not put this in place before, at least not during my time. This after-action report gives us areas that we can improve, whether it be through backup supplies, through policy improvements, and so forth. We have not gone through the report as a team yet, and so that's why I haven't really handed that out. So why do I talk about all this? Because I came from the corporate world, and I'm always talking about my leadership style, where we need clearly defined leadership roles. Too many leaders may create confusion or lack of direction. There can be an overlap of duties, and areas of responsibility can create a waste of time, duplication of effort. It can also create an overall frustration, poor morale, or burnout. These were discussion items that I presented September 11th, and I provided this strategyleaders.com website. I also talked about at that time, the city manager strategy was improving transparency. I talked about my guiding principles. I think I started that during the interview process. Safety's number one, respect, integrity, and teamwork. I've also talked about the what's in it for me, and again, not pointing at anybody, but a what's in it for me attitude does not work in this type of environment. Establishing priorities is key. Clearly defined roles, developing communication strategy, and then with those goals, the results is establishing an ability to have hard discussions with individuals so that we can make improvements, holding individuals accountable. And there, with that foundation, we can create stability and growth. So my messaging behind all of this is I really want to stick with my 4 guiding principles. I've used them for 30 plus years. Discouraging what's in it for me. And remembering when we all went to the conference of what else is possible, because the city of Las Vegas has a lot that we can do. I bring this slide up because I've talked about these things for almost a year now, and it lines up, it's parallel to the ICS system. I think it's incredibly important that we embrace it, that we go through the ICS 100, 200, 700 training. On the staff side, we're going to be pulling the group together to make sure that we have all gone through that training. If it's been done in the past, it'll be a really good refresher because we will have more emergencies. So there we go.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a quick comment?
Yes. Go ahead, Council.
Thank you for your report, Mr. City Manager. I just wanted to let you know that some of us have already been through the incident command system training. As a new counselor back in 2016, we were asked to attend the training. The city police chief at that time, the fire chief, and several other staff members, as well as some of the counselors, also attended. So I'm happy to hear you talk about this again. I think it's very, very, very important for as many people as possible to take this training because you never know what's going to happen next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. City Manager, if I'm correct, I think Adrian had mentioned that we have to redo it again. I know he had sent us emails, and I think last year, I think it was about this time.
Yeah, it's time for a refresher. And I think if you think of just city of Las Vegas, we've gone through the pandemic, the fire, the flood, the snow, in the last 2 years. And so I think even if we've gone through the training in the past, I think we need to keep this as a living topic to really keep us ready. And I think to understand the purpose of the structure. I talk a lot about too many leaders, and I don't mean it as an insult, but we need one incident commander in place. And I view this not only for emergency situations, but for daily business. Because if the staff is being pulled in different directions or has too many leaders giving differences, it causes problems. One of the things that I've done in my capacity is separate utilities. We have water, wastewater is now a division or a department. Solid waste has been pulled out separately, and gas is pulled out separately. It is extremely difficult to run all those areas together. And by having a director over each area, it reduces the number of individuals that a director needs to work with, but also gives them the opportunity to really focus. And there's going to be one set of guidance coming from that director to those departments. We're in the process of doing the same thing now with Parks and Recreation. It's intentional, let's put it that way. I think that my speaking and the words that I've used are coming from a corporate world, and transitioning it over to ICS is paramount because we're a government entity. And so I need to transition my words over as well.
And I think to add to that, Mr. Tim, is that based off of our amount of snowfall and the spring runoff and predicting for, the rainfall in the monsoon season next year, I think it's important that we continue with that because there's Story Lake's already at capacity. I heard they're putting into McAllister, but only so much water could fit in there. So we're gonna have to be on top of that. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to add also, and you had mentioned it, but I do want to acknowledge, MJ for what she's done at the rec center, and then and also for the senior center, because I know that they also prepared meals for the seniors till Tuesday. So, again, that was in preparation of the big snowstorm. Luckily, we didn't get to that point, but the 40 inches or 44 inches we were predicted. But again, just to show that how proactive you were with your team and the leadership, and you thought of every possible thing, I think. So, thank you. Councilors, questions?
Mr. Mayor, the city manager, that was a very well executed report that you did for us. A lot of times, a lot of people don't think about all of the factors involved, all the roles that are played when you have to put everything together to make something happen, and you've done that, and you continue to prove that you can do that. Just with this huge amount of snow that we've had, it's been even, and I don't know, I think there's probably been a lot of issues with roofs in our community. And I just want to bring that to light as well, because a snow load of, a foot or more of that much snow will separate panels, will cause all kinds of damage to roofs, and you've got all kinds of water damage within the building. So I really enjoyed your report, and this wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't have not been proactive about taking care of our community. So I applaud you for that. Thank you.
Just thank you. Excellent report.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, moving on to our next item is our first business item. Request approval to enter into contract with Samaritan House Incorporated. We have our Community Development Director, Mr. Lucas Marquez, and I believe Mr. George Lyon.
As we get to this topic with the homeless, I just want to also thank you, Chief Marquez. I know your crew was out there making sure that homeless weren't just out and about. I think you were in contact also with the Samaritan House to make sure that there was room there. If not, they were already prepared. So thank you for, making sure that the homeless were taken care of. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We're back. This item was tabled at last session. There was a few questions that were needing to be answered. One One being, there was some calls for service that were questioned at the last one, so it was tabled by the council last time. We're back with the same request, requesting funding for the Samaritan House. Let me get the, $58,331 for, the next, 7 months.
Mr. Mayor. I just had one question, kind of, this is the question that I had. Do we have the data on how many calls were at that, in that vicinity, Chief?
Yes, sir. So I did pull together some data from the last meeting that we had discussed as well. For year-to-date calls in that area.
I don't know if you don't mind talking into the mic.
Oh, sorry about that. I was able to get some data for year-to-date, and I actually pulled it from today, 1 calendar year back, and we had 121 calls for service to 501 7th Street, which is the Samaritan House. And then if you give me 1 second, I could pull together, we also pulled data for the Lincoln Park area. And for that area, we did have a total of 82 calls for service to Lincoln Park. And we also did pull for 700 Lincoln Avenue. Sometimes when the calls come in, callers won't state exactly Lincoln Park, Samaritan House or anything. We had 2 calls for service there. And we also pulled together some data from the following area, and there was the area around surrounding there for a total of 46 calls for service in that immediate area.
Total in that area? I mean, all of them
Total-
combined, did you have a?
I could add them all up real quick for you.
Okay. Councilman Martinez?
Yes. Okay, no, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to point out a couple of things. You know, the item was tabled for this meeting, Mr. Lyons. And the reason why it was tabled is because myself and Counselor Casey went ahead and tabled it. I think there was rumor out there, information that was being spread out there that the city of Las Vegas is not helping the homeless. And that's what I kind of got by a couple of, some information that was placed out there, whether it be newspaper or comments through Channel 13. Mr. Lyons, I totally disagree with how you portray me as a councilman and the city of Las Vegas. I don't think that you're giving us enough credit. If you look back at the numbers, and these are numbers from 2015 to current date, there's approximately over $312,000 that has been spent with Samaritan House. I don't know how you could honestly say that we cannot or we do not want to provide a funding benefit to the Samaritan House. And, you know, furthermore, I think, you know, there's a lot of questions that have been unanswered on my end. You know, I'm speaking on behalf of public safety, number one, okay? I do speak on behalf of Lincoln Park, that entire neighborhood that's surrounding Lincoln Park, the Samaritan House, and the business community in that general area. And as you heard earlier, there was comments in reference to some of the things that have taken place in that general area. I don't oppose helping the homeless. I think it's important, and you need to know that it is important to me too. I feel for the homeless. I understand there's homeless. I'm not really sure how they get here. Maybe you can answer where some of these individuals come from. Can you give me a general idea where they come from?
That was my question last time. How come we're paying?
A majority of them are relatives of the people that live in this community. They're from their community.
Do you have a signature list of some sort that
We do.
that can give us some kind of direction that tells us any of that?
Sure. We have a sign-in sheet that has their signature, the services they got, and where they reside at.
So your hours of operation are, again, what are they?
During the, in crises like the snow, or in any other event like the fire, we'll open up immediately. But we are a seasonal shelter that opens from, well, the meal starts at 6. The shelter to sleep begins at 7 until 7:30 or 8:30 the next day, or longer, depending on the temperature.
Okay, and one of my biggest questions is, what kind of people are at that homeless shelter? What kind of people do you have attend that homeless shelter? Do you have felons that attend that homeless shelter?
Well, they're human beings for starters.
I
Whether they
understand.
are felons or not is beyond, it's a low-barrier shelter.
I understand
We don't
that,
ask
sir.
that kind of question. We don't ask them that question.
So you don't know if you have sex offenders, you don't know if you have felons, you don't know if you have people that need to be registered on a sex offender list or anything like that?
Not any more than any other business in town. We're not required to do that, and we don't.
You know, if you have a shelter and there's a child sleeping 3 rows down from that individual and he is that person, is that okay with you?
You know what, Mr. Martinez, I can't really answer, I could be or may have been or but of or any kind of dialogue like it. I have no idea what would happen.
Why
We've never been
is
involved with
there
that.
not a way to research that? Why is there not a way,
Research what, sir?
why is there not a way to check that?
We're not interested in checking that. The need is there. If they don't have a place to live, if they're hungry and cold, we provide shelter. If the city would like us to eliminate anybody with a legal or a legal background or criminal background, put it in your contract, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, I totally get that, and I understand that. You know, I'm very concerned about public safety and.
No, sir. You've been concerned since the last time we spoke. I asked for an IPA report, and I've got the exact statistical data of the crimes and the time the police have been called there. And I want to thank the police department for their efforts with us. We're about keeping the neighborhood good, keeping the neighborhood safe. And of the calls that were called between the time that I asked for the IPA report, which is 1 week ago, to year, there's been approximately 90. And out of those 90 people, 90 calls to around our area, 32 of them were for us calling because we wanted someone away from that community. We didn't want them there because of their behavior. So in conjunction with the police department, the neighborhood has been, I think, I work there, so I look out the window, and I can tell you that the claims that are being made about the park, I have no evidence to suggest that, and if it did happen, I certainly would take the action to make some changes.
Thank you. Mr. Leon, I did want to bring in, I think this is probably the time. Could you pull up a slide for us here?
So the total calls for service are 351 to that area.
Leon, do you have? Okay.
I'm gonna just push escape over here.
So
These
you're
are
on
the type,
record that
these are,
it's
these are the type of
322?
situations that we as, me as the mayor, when I was the former counselor in that ward, and now him. And I don't know if, I don't think the residents probably reach out to the other counselors, maybe they do. So, I think a picture says, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and, I want to get your comment on these pictures.
Can you describe those pictures since I don't have a video of them?
Okay, yeah. They're pulling them up.
Okay.
I guess while it's loading, we could maybe continue some of the dialogue. Go ahead, Counselor, I don't know if you had,
Are you talking to me or to Councilor Martinez?
Counselor Martinez. I
Okay.
don't know if he was done. I thought that was, when they were mentioning that he's never seen, I just thought it would be appropriate to.
Well, and, you know, there's several important factors. You know, we had an individual that spoke earlier about what she sees with the Samaritan House. And what is the city doing for that money that we give out? That $312,000 plus that we've given up from 2015 to current? You know, what are we really getting out of it? If, you know, we gotta be the best stewards of public monies. And if we can't do that in a fashion that's appropriate, I understand the need for homeless. And I'm compassionate for those individuals that need a place to stay and sleep. I also know that building is also used for other things, correct?
Our building,
Yes.
it's administration and the homeless shelter,
Okay,
and food
but
distribution.
it's distribution for commodities, correct?
Well, not, yes, and emergency food or special supplemental food.
Okay, and I still stand by, my comments from the last meeting that we had in reference to, I'd really like to see it moved. Okay, I know that you mentioned, buy it from the city, but let the city buy it and all this other stuff. But wouldn't you at least consider some of that?
Sure. If the city wants to buy it, we certainly would consider it.
So that's the only option that you have is for the city to purchase it?
Well, what other option do you have, are you putting on the table?
What options would you have to try to get it into a better place?
Buy the building so that we can afford to buy another building?
That's the only option you have then?
Yes, sir.
So have you even considered trying to look for another location or?
We have no
Why
offers
were
on the
you at
building, sir.
another location prior to that?
I'm sorry?
Why were you at a different location on Mills Avenue before that location? The location that you were
If
at
everybody
on
has the
Mills?
time, I'll explain that. We were at Mills before that. And
Right.
before that, we were on Grand Street. And our administration was on Bernalillo Street. That's the time that I first started. In Bernalillo Street, the city of Las Vegas has placed us in a HUD house. HUD got wind of it and kicked us out immediately. I had to find a place for administration within a week's time. I had to call senators to try to stop that movement, and I did. They gave us a month to move out. The Grand Street location was unsafe. The heating and cooling was venting into the building itself, and I had to find another place for that. And so when the building came available on 501 7th Street, the doctors, two of them, found favor in us, and we entered into an agreement with them and bought the building from them. We spent thousands of dollars renovating it. We had plans and we were very aware. It was open for public comment at that time. And in addition to public comment, we had a series of meetings with the city and with the public. We were mandated to do that. We had like about 3 or 4 meetings, and by the 4th meeting, nobody from the community was attending them at all. It was done at the hotel down the end of the Grand Street, one of those hotels. So that's where that comes from.
You had already bought the building before we were able to make those comments.
Okay, well.
So let's,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about, you can probably show me pictures of individuals doing whatever, and I'm looking forward to looking at them, and I can explain each and every one of them. But the reality is that I did ask for our IPRA report. I do have the precise amount of calls that the police department has responded to our area, 501, Lincoln Park. And I also got Walmart. So if we're 300, Walmart's 822. Are you going to make them move too? I mean, they were called that many times over there. So the measurement has to be fair and square. Our calls, by the way, in regard to violent crimes, if there was any violent crimes, amount to about 4 violent crimes, or ones that you could be charged with a crime. Assault, where one of the guest assaulted another guest. We have one disorderly conduct, one false call from a mentally ill patient that said there were shots fired, and the police responded to that. But the majority of them are 12 from citizen contacts, 32 from unwanted subjects where we had called and asked assistance to remove somebody. We wanted to make a very clear statement that we didn't want them back there. And then the rest are really minor things. 4 disturbances, 1 welfare check, 7 follow-ups, 7 welfare checks again, 1 suspicious package. We analyzed the data. And I'll be the first to say that if there was calls that were, if our measurement is the same as any other business, then we're not out of line. And it reflects more of our desire to take care of the neighborhood and the neighborhood that we live in. We do not allow individuals who are disruptive to the neighborhood to remain there, remove them as quickly as we can. We have a 24-hour line that's open up. People don't even have to say who they are. That was published in the newspaper. I made sure it was published in the newspaper. I've never heard, I've heard of Mrs. Price's rhetoric several times, and I follow up and do the research, but I have not found any evidence to support the claims that she's making. Once that's there, believe me, I will do whatever we can to correct that problem. We've always done that. We changed the way that, we don't allow people in the park, but how much control do you have over that? Many of the individuals, we're blamed for individuals that are not even getting services from us, or if they get a lunch because they're hungry, they automatically a Samaritan House person. The measurement is unfair. And as a political scientist, as the person at Highlands that teaches the law courses, there's got to be evidence to support the claims that are there. I'm simply not going to ask somebody to leave unless I have evidence that suggests that is truly what's happening there. And so anytime a neighbor calls, it is documented. It's reported on the bottom of the report that these gentlemen get every month. As far as our money and where it's spent, every month they get a summary. They get a breakdown of where that money was spent. They look at it every month. And I've never heard a complaint about it until recently, and that's when we applied for this new grant for this new year.
So-
You spend a lot of time, this is probably not going to get me any favors from you guys, but you're spending a lot of time with Samaritan House and 58,000 when you're sitting on $1.2 million since the year 2022. And since the year 2022, because of the city sitting on 1.2 million of opiate settlement money, maybe not directly, but ethically, there's been 27 deaths in the county of San Miguel in the year 2023 and 16 deaths from fentanyl this year alone. And you're still sitting on $1.2 million. That's what you need to be looking at.
So, Mr.
Instead of the
Lyon- Mr. Lyon-
58,000, I'm speaking, sir. Instead,
Mr. Lyon, point of order. That's actually a topic that, the city, this governing body is going to address. So I don't know, you're trying to pinpoint that the city isn't doing enough. But I do want to address, part
I'm
of the
not saying the
story.
city's not doing enough, sir.
Part of a story that you reached out to the Santa Fe New Mexican, and in that story specifically states,
mean
and this,
the
and
optic-
this is where I'm kind of confused.
Okay.
Because you're putting a lot of blame on the city of Las Vegas, but these are your comments. Your comments are, this shelter provides, serves people from San Miguel County, Guadalupe, Quay, and Mora counties. So one question, have you reached out to them? Or how much
Yes,
are they
we
funding?
have.
How much are they funding?
We have to first statistically be able to validly measure where the people are starting. We only started that last year. So we're still getting people that are coming in that are automatically saying, remember, the disease of addiction is a lying disease. So they're saying that they are from one area, but until I get a longer record, I can't go and approach those places. But yeah, you bet you I'm going to go to them. You bet I'm going to go to the county. But I need to be able to speak with you guys in a manner
Well, I
that's
had an
persuasive
opportunity
and
to
not
ask the
argumentative.
chairman, and to what I understand is you were put on the agenda 3 times and you never went up to that.
That's not the truth. I'm not aware of it, and I've been there all the time. There's no way that I would not attend a meeting that was going to give us money. So just view it that way.
So chairman was lying to me? Is that what?
I don't know who was saying
The
that, and
chairman.
I don't
It was
call
the
anybody a
chairman.
liar, sir.
It was the chairman.
Okay.
Okay. I just, to me, and this is where I stand, is I look at your profit and loss statement right here. And at the end of the day, what we do is what I do, what I've always done with any organization, this isn't just picking on Samaritan House, this is when any organization. If we're funding, if we're allocate funding, you want to make sure that it's going to the services needed. But then if you read it into your statement that you provided, there's nothing in here, there's nothing on here that states that this funding is going to direct services.
I don't know which one you're looking at, sir. But if you look at the employees, you're only given the cost of employees associated with the care of the people in the shelter. You're not paying for the people that are salary for the food distribution or administration whatsoever. There may be some administrative costs, which is never much than, like I say, 10%, but the money goes for paying for the staff. So recognize that. So with $8,333, you're asking me to employ enough people to be safe the way that you want to, completely safe, and more, and more. With that amount of money for 7 months, we do the best we can. We depend on volunteers. We use that money, we stretch it.
And this is where I'm trying to get is that, this was coming from your statement. Your
Yes, sir.
statement specifically says all these areas.
Yes.
But yet the city's funding the money for all of them. So to me, yes, I'll be the first to admit, we have a homeless problem. I don't think that, and I'm going to say it, I don't think that the homeless are receiving the services that they should be getting. And yes, it might be us. It might be the city. But I
Mr. Mayor,
think Mr. City Manager.
have you ever been to Samaritan House?
Yes, I have.
Have you participated in any of the programs? Do you know what programs we have? Because what you're saying is absolutely wrong. We're all about keeping people off the street. That's what we're about. That's
Okay.
why we got rid of the housing, as I explained before.
But you said you got off let's go to the last meeting, that you
Yes.
said when you're trying to get him off the street, but then you also mentioned that wasn't in your mission because you stopped applying for HUD money because it wasn't working because people were staying on drugs.
So you don't,
So- so-
I think
so I
you're
did-
trying
so I
to
did,
find,
like I-
you're trying
like
to
I
look at me
mentioned.
with the lens of, I'm a bad guy. We got rid of the HUD programs because we were placing people that were not, the underlying issue with those who are homeless is addiction and mental illness, brain disease, or a combination of both, period. Less than 1%, or at 1%, are other than that. So until we treat those two items, you're doing nothing but perpetuating homelessness. Just look at Albuquerque,
but-
just look at Espanola, just look at Santa Fe. Do you want that over here?
Uh,
We are doing something to change something.
Speaking of Albuquerque, YDI, I don't know, Mr. Chavez, I think his name is. So they have a program, so thank you for bringing that up. You kind of opened up a door for me.
Okay.
So I was able to speak to an individual, Chavez was his last name, I can't think of his first name, I have his card. But YDI does help with some of the homeless issues in Albuquerque. They actually are under a state program that they get $10,000. And first, it's the homeless, the emergency homeless, but they get them into a program and they get him work, and with that 10,000, they put him into homes. $10,000 pays the down payment, the utilities down payment for up to 6 months. So, and that's what I'm talking about, is that I don't think that we as a community are doing that, because, and Chief, if I'm wrong, correct me, but I see the same individuals over and over. So what are we doing as a community, because we're failing those same 10 individuals?
Well-
This is the services that we're paying you to do.
No, you're
But
not,
they're the
sir.
same 10 individuals.
You're paying for you're paying for someone to sleep there and eat. Samaritan House does much more than that. We case manage each and every person in there. We do assessment, and we set them on goals. Our goal is not about addiction. Our goal is not about housing. Our goal is to get them to become contributing community members. And naturally will come the housing, naturally will become a reduction in their uses of drugs. We don't have the expertise in that area. We do refer people to the existing resources here. As far as housing is concerned, we have the homeless advocacy group out of Santa Fe that has vouchers, LifeLink, that comes in Wednesdays when we call them, that has vouchers that can put someone a qualified individual immediately into housing. But that's not the nature of my complaint here, sir. And I apologize if I seem aggressive, but it really does feel like you are resisting what we are doing, and we are not your enemies, we are your friends. We are trying to keep people off the street permanently. But we keep seeing year after year, because of failed policies for, down to micromanagement, where we cannot do what we need to do to keep them off the street. I beg you to
Micromanagement from
endorse
where?
us in a manner that is recognizing that, because you have two gentlemen here that look at our records every month. If there was fraud, then, let them know, and they'll do it. He scoured them. He went through them in and out and found anything that was peculiar, and we made the adjustments that were necessary. We've been in this community for 47 years. That 47 years comes from the support of the people in this community. So it's up to you. Do you want to do your own thing, or do you want to do what the community is doing and support us for 47 years? The decision is yours.
Well, I think, to me personally, I think we need more services. That's where my whole thing has been, is that I don't think that the services are sufficient enough. And if it's funding, then there's other avenues that I think we as a city need to look at and address. And if it's opening it up and, bringing in other organizations that can help specifically address, to get those same individuals that we continue to have part of those 800 or whatever calls that we're addressing, because we have issues. We have issues.
If I could just clear that up, I know on the IPRA request that was requested by Mr. Lyons.
Mind speaking to the speaker?
It was, the IPRA request that was requested by Mr. Lyons was for 501 7th Street, 705 Douglas, and for Lincoln Park. And I just want to make it clear that the 351 number that I got was from 423 7th Street, the 501 7th, 423 7th, or Grand Avenue, which is the Allsups, Lincoln Park, 501 7th, Dick's Liquor, 705 Douglas, Price's Home Furnishing, and Lions Park. So that's where all those numbers are coming from the general facility that we majority deal with these calls for service at.
I know he brought up Walmart. I'm just curious, how many people walk into Walmart on an annual basis? Would we have it? Just so we compare apples to apples.
What do you mean on an annual basis?
It's 1,680,000.
1 million?
Yes.
So percentage-wise?
With the number of police reports, it equates to 0.086% of the patrons have had an issue at Walmart. One thing I also wanted to call out is on the report, the police report, much of the activity, if there's an accident that happens there at that intersection, they're going to pull into the Walmart parking lot to go through the remediation of that accident. Those are included in that 800 count. So I just want to call, it's not every person, not the 800 people walking out of Walmart that have had a police report. It's any incident around the area.
And that's kind of what I thought that might be.
And Mayor, if I may, I'm very much on percentages, also looking for weights. If we go back and we look at the Samaritan House contract, I believe we are looking at serving like 12, 14 people for $58,000. When we look at our overall budget for the city, we're looking at over 13,000 people that we're serving with our funds. And so I think we need to look at the percent that it's being allocated by individual.
And that was my next question that I didn't get to, and I know I'm talking too much. I just know, being in that seat there, all the concerns that we get, again, I can't vouch for the other counselors, from all the neighbors within that area, from the businesses to the residents, so you got to understand it's not like we're just making this stuff up. And I mean, the pictures are there. Please put a picture. And these are comments, 100 and I don't know how many comments those are, but if we put one of the pictures, the actual pictures. Pictures of the individuals. In that one.
I don't know who that is. Where is that? Doesn't even look like any building near my building that has an overhang like that.
That's
Lions
at actual Lions Park. It's a homeless person naked.
How do you know they're homeless? Did you ask him that question? How do you know that? We cannot be the scapegoat for every problem in the area, guys. Let's be fair about this. I think you really need to decide yourself so that I don't waste my time and yours, whether you want to fund Samaritan House or not. It's your choice. I've given you the evidence. I provided the information I gave you. I have no reason to lie. There's 80 calls to our immediate area, not the surrounding community, and that's the facts. So make a
Councilors.
decision so I can move forward.
Councilors, I know I talked too much, but go ahead. Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor?
I have Pro Tem Montoya right now.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just didn't want to interrupt, sometimes you gotta let it out and, that's the way it goes. Come to a conclusion. Hear both sides. But as far as this contract and the scope of work that we have with Samaritan House, I'm going to ask a few questions. And do you have final rules posted on the entrance at Samaritan House?
Final rules go directly to the board of directors.
Yeah, but are the rules posted in your building?
Everyone that comes in has to sign off, yes,
Yes.
on the rules that they receive.
Okay. And then, does law enforcement have access to the outdoor cameras?
Yes, at one time we did. I'll clear that up and make sure that we still have it.
Okay. And was there a phone line and a voice mailbox that was open to the public 24 hours a day?
Yes, sir. The number's public, is
Okay.
published in the newspaper.
Thank you. Now, twice a month for 30 to 45 minutes, Samaritan House will open a Zoom session for updating to the public of the most recent efforts to combat addiction, stigma, and mental illness in the San Miguel County and ask questions of experts. Is that done?
That's to be started again.
Okay. And one board member appointed shall be available from the neighborhood of the homeowners?
That'd be great. Mrs. Price, maybe Ms. Price wants to be on the board.
But
We
you don't have
welcome
one
anybody.
presently?
We've asked, we've gone door to door, nobody wants to participate.
Nobody wants to join, okay. Has the fire inspection been conducted by the Las Vegas Fire Department annually on this area?
Yes, sir. And it's been cleared.
And the shelter is staffed in the evenings?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And you have a nighttime staff?
Yes,
member?
sir.
Yeah, okay. And is this place safe?
Yes, sir, I believe it's safe.
Is it heated?
Yes, it is.
You have showers for people there?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And do you have a license to cook in that place?
We only do ready-made food.
Okay.
We have a
So,
kitchen, but we're not licensed.
you know this contract upside down. What are you not complying with?
I think that's the previous contract, not the one that's right now, because that's been changed. I think it was everything that we complied with, including not giving people blankets or tents, and everything you had in there. We were
My
very,
next question is to the city manager. What in this contract is not being complied with?
Sir, I do not have an answer for that. I have not worked that intimately with the contract.
You worked with Mr. Lyons on this contract, and he has submitted all the financial statements to you?
Yes, sir.
And so forth? Okay. See, the things that bother me is that we divert away from the contract, and there's all kinds of problems. And, we can't fix them all. But you are correct, Mr. Lyons, in the sense that we are sitting on a ton of money. Since this city was established in 1835, we're 189 years old, and we've never been in such a best finance as we are today. And I give credit to Mayor and Council, our city manager and staff and our consultants and so forth. And also our delegation in Washington and so forth. Because they all helped us out. It was all a team effort to get to where we're at. But the problems that I see is that on your reports, on the funding of the housing last year, that was $500,000. Now, I can understand why that happened now. I didn't before. So to me, I still see a guy under the bridge living there. Right now, he's sleeping there under the bridge on I-25 and Grand Avenue. He walks by my house every day, early mornings and late at nights. And I see other people somewhere else too. And I'm not going to go there because I'm not going to judge whether they're homeless or not. But I see them. And I know there's a need. And who else
is going to help him, if not us. So I do have empathy, I do have, I do have a heart, and I do believe that we need to help him out. But if we don't like this contract, I mean, then we ought to throw it away and start fresh, or approve this contract, and then do as the mayor said, go out for an RFP, or go out and to see what else, other services, if we find anything better, but we got to do something. And I tell you this because my experience, I worked at the Samaritan for 2 years, feeding these people, helping them at night. It's a tough life, and they come from all walks of life. And I don't care if they're on the interstate, they break down, if they're from Denver or wherever, they either go to the church or they go to the Samaritan house for help. Either the church puts them in a motel overnight, gives them some food money or coupons, or they go to you guys. How many people do you refuse a day?
0.
0? So, I think that, Mr. Mayor, personally, and I know Ms. Casey needs to give her say, but I stand that we got to approve this contract for this time and around, and I don't know if hopefully it's not the last time, but I think that, there's issues there, and there's going to be issues no matter where you put the Samaritan house. If you put it at Hannah Park, there's going to be issues. If you put it in Old Town, there's going to be issues. Nobody likes it in their backyard. That's the bottom line. But people are homeless. What do? You got to help them out. You can't abandon them. And I'm sorry that this came out of me, but I cannot turn the other way. I'm not going to turn the cheek the other way. When I see that there's things going on in our community, we got to address them. And we have. We have had good discussions here tonight. And there's a lot of issues that we need to work on. But I think that for tonight, I think that we ought to move forward with this contract. If Samaritan is abiding by this contract, and I mean, what else are we asking him to do? If we have other issues, yeah, I have other issues too. Let's add him onto another contract, or let's add him onto this contract before we approve it. But one last thing, Mr. Mayor. I would agree that this money, all of it should go to services, food or services, not salaries. You take care of the salaries, however, grants or whatever it takes. But I think that as a city, I ought to give it the service for food and shelter. That's what I think. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And again, just a reminder, and Mr. Montgomery, if I'm wrong, the reason why it's at the 58,000 is because if we go over 60,000, then that requires an RFP. Am I correct in saying that?
That's correct, sir.
So, and that's where I say, I mean, again, they're not sufficient. We can't just say, give him more money. That's where I say we have to put an RFP together, put in the services that I believe that the city or our community needs, more services, vouchers, whatever it needs, and whoever puts in, and I mean, whether it's the church, churches, other organizations, we have the money. It just making sure that we provide. This isn't enough. I'm not the first one to say it's not enough, but there's issues. There's issues that, as it should be, partners, not just give us the money and oh well. It's a partnership, right? Instead of, it's the communication should be, well, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna meet with the businesses, we're gonna meet, because those Zooms were committed, but I know that didn't happen, because I matter of fact, the past couple days, made phone calls to some of the residents, they didn't know of no Zoom meetings or anything that are supposed to be in the contract. So that's where I'm saying is that, we could better the environment, but it just, some of the things that, residents in the area are seeing that, that shouldn't be happening. And we go down the list. I wanted to show those ones, but, there's just so much that I hear from that I'm sure, Councilor Martinez hears from, I know you guys, the rest of you, I keep saying this, you don't hear it. And all we're doing is we're elected by the people of that neighborhood, and we have to listen to them and bring those concerns out to the community. Whether people like it or not, we're doing our job. We're doing our job because that's what our residents want us to bring up and say, hey, make sure this doesn't happen. Gentlemen urinating right there, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna you shouldn't be taking kids to see things like that. So I know you're saying that they're not your clients. I beg to differ on that, and one thing that I would ask is that we get those lists and start kind of, because if some of those individuals are from boarding homes, then that's another matter that we have to look into as a community, make sure that, they're getting their services.
Ms. Casey was on the line.
I'll leave it at that. Councilor Casey, go ahead. I'm sorry for.
Thank you. I am embarrassed and upset at the shabby treatment that Mr. Lyon gets every time he comes before this governing body. I think it's shameful, and we need to stop that. We have rules for decorum. We have ethical rules. And every time that Mr. Lyon comes in, those fly out the door. It has to stop. And I'm happy that Councilor Montoya recognizes the need. And I have a lot of compassion for homeless people. I have taken them in when I was living in Roswell. I've found them jobs. I've gotten them counseling. It's not an easy job to do. I did this on my own. They don't have a homeless shelter there or anything like that. But please, don't blame Mr. Lyon for the ills of, the city. Many unsheltered people are unsheltered because they want to be. They want to be free. They want to sleep under the stars. The newspapers have done all kinds of interviews with homeless people, and they say, oh no, I feel smothered inside. If it gets too cold, they'll find some place that, they can sleep in, but they want out after that. Don't blame Mr. Lyon. Don't blame the Samaritan House. He cannot control the actions of other people, just like you can't control the actions of other people. So all I'm saying is, we need to stop this terrible attitude that is being displayed to the entire community in treating Mr. Lyon with total lack of respect. And I agree with Councilor Montoya that we should just fund it and help move this community forward on this issue and see if we can do something constructive rather than destroying the purpose and mission of Samaritan House. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the requested money for Samaritan House.
A motion by Councilor Casey.
Mr. Mayor.
I asked the maker of the motion, see if we can add the language and as an amendment that this funding will only be used for services and not for salaries or wages.
That'll be fine.
Thank you. I'll second that motion.
Second by Pro Tem Montoya. Roll call.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
No.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate you guys.
Mr. Mayor, just real quick, point of clarification if we can.
Yeah.
Since the motion was specific, will there be a need to amend that contract? I'm assuming there's gonna have to be in the scope of services and things like that, so just, if you guys wanna send that or something so we can get that language clarified prior to any signatures.
Okay.
Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving on to presentations. not to exceed 10 to 15 minutes. Our first presentation is by Tim Hageman, giving an update on economic development.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tim Hageman. I work for the Economic Development Department out of the Moore office and work for our new Cabinet Secretary. He's our 5th Cabinet Secretary I've got to serve for, and that's Rob Black. And tonight would like to talk about creating wealth and increasing the economic viability and capacity in our area. And one way that I like to do that is through pictures. So this first one, I sponsored a table through the Economic Development Department to come to the New Mexico Counties Conference at New Mexico Highlands University, and I picked out all the forest-related products that are made in the area, and it was a great way to introduce the guests to what products are produced in your county or in your city. And I asked every individual that I met with, and they were able to answer the question pretty well. They needed a little help with maybe cattle raising and meat processing. The other things that we do in our job is working with businesses directly. This is Silver Dollar Wood Products, which we had one of their products. They make pet bedding products and highway landscaping bedding. This is, I helped them in regards to this equipment that they purchased, and through a MEP assistance through the Manufacturers Extension Project, they were able to add robotics to their operation due to their issue with workforce and housing in Maxwell. So they were able to have this robotic arm stack their products so that it could be shipped out of the area. So one thing that we did was each regional rep, which I am representing the northeastern New Mexico, is we have hosted all of the regional reps in our economic development division, and they came to Las Vegas a couple months ago, and we met with these businesses, and we started at B Public Prefab at DBIB Business Park. This is an example of the products that they make in regards to housing. FEMA is helping a lot of individuals purchase this product to build homes instead of manufactured housing. Gives you the same R value as an Adobe home. And they're celebrating their birthday in Philadelphia today with their continued growth in new customers. Then we went on to Barella Timber Management Company. Ralph Barella, we helped them with a $500,000 mill expansion grant through CDBG through San Miguel County and the North Central Council of Governments that administered that grant. And we want to continue to work with wood product. One of the emphasis of the tour was forest industries, historic preservation, and disaster planning. So we did training throughout that 2-day period while staying at the Castaneda Hotel. Old wood flooring at DBIB Business Park. They learned about all the products that they make with flooring and Torquay and some of the products that they sell next to their wood products that they bundle out at the Wood Park, San Miguel Wood Park. And this is Shiloh Old. showing the production line in regards to bundling firewood and putting them in these retail product so that people can pick them up in a Walmart or a retail store and take them home. And they're shipping all over the West right now. They received an EDA of Economic Development Administrative grant of $1 million for their wood production facility that they're expanding out there. We also met with Elmo Baca, and he discussed the Shootout Film Festival that we had put on a few years ago. And they learned about how to put on a film festival. We also had our film liaison, Angie, and also our Main Street director, so that they could learn about this. Preservation-wise, I wanted to bring up that right now in preservation grants that are available, National Park Service has $750,000 that could be applied to, such as the old City Hall, and that's due in December. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing next week is going to the Route 66 Centennial meeting. I've been to half of them, one in Grants next week. And this is from my collection here, one of the first maps ever done on the Ozark Trail from St. Louis to Las Vegas in the 1920s. And this is before Route 66. So these were all the sponsors in the community. So wanted to hand that out. The commission is looking for projects right now and would love to see a infrastructure project or anything that maybe you would like me to advocate for when I attend these meetings. We also went to New Mexico Highlands University and went through their Media Arts and Technology Film Studio. We encouraged them to utilize this facility more with their students, and it can also be a bridge to attracting a film studio to do TV and film productions, such as maybe out of the golf course with the New Mexico Highlands University project. I recently met with Bill Garcia and helped introduce him to a master developer that he can consider in their board for developing that project. And we also discussed utilizing a metropolitan revitalization area, an MRA that you have in your railroad district, as well as utilizing tax increment financing for future projects that could be a mixed-use projects with business, housing, and Bill Garcia just recently got the feasibility study, and we had a chance to review that and learn more about their initiative. We also went out to San Miguel County at Rosciata and met with Chacon Belts and learned about his manufacturing of belts and how he retains employees. I've been wearing a Chacon belt for almost over 25, 30 years. So we also visited with Northridge Forestry in Rainsville. I'd like to mention that we have a program in the Economic Development Department called our JEDI office, and that is means for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And this state small business credit initiative through the Treasury Department helps fund workshops that we're going to be bringing to Las Vegas this year, and it targets businesses of 10 employees or less, independent contractors, and sole proprietors. So this allows English and Spanish without the use of translation, targeted toward very small businesses that are owned by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. Their focus is on financial advisory services, legal advisory services, accounting advisory services, and venture capital emerging fund management. Also, I have responsibilities for resiliency through our department with disaster planning, and I helped the New Mexico Forest and Watershed Institute with business resources, and that is located on the Calf Canyon Fire website that local businesses can utilize. We also work with foundations such as the St. Vrain Foundation and more in their arts and cultural compound, much like you have in your Main Street district here. And then with outdoor recreation, this is on my property on the Moore River, and we had a chance to have Trout Unlimited come out and talk about the effects of the fire in regards to the ecology and the reforestation of the river. And one of the things that our outdoor recreation division just announced for Las Vegas, we have given $50,000 to two entities. One is the Hermit's Peak Watershed Alliance, and they received $20,000. And then another educational group with River Source Partners in Education. They received $30,000, and they're going to be putting that toward Pathway program for youth education and watershed internships and training. Hermit's Peak is doing bird watching and fly fishing for the youth. So we're really excited to continue to provide programs for outdoor recreation.
And Tim, I don't know, because we have we have some other presentations. If you don't mind, because usually we do 10-minute presentations, so if you could kind of wrap it up. And
Yes, sir. And we're wrapping up our EDD site readiness program. This week will be Lucas has been helping us in regards to meeting with global location resources out of South Carolina. We are working with 30 municipal-owned airports and business parks and industrial parks, and determining how ready sites are in regards to having the infrastructure and the capacity and the utilities so that we can recruit industry into your areas. So that one of the things that we've noticed with these meetings is a lot of the utility folks have learned more by the consultants and learning about their property than some of them knew about their property. So we're looking forward to that conversation. So I think that covers it, Mayor. The Creative Industry Division just spent $2 million, and we had funding go toward the Moore Market to help local small business people be able to show their value-added processing and products that they make. And then we're putting together an asset mapping map for all of the creative industries, and they target toward performing arts, visual arts, literary arts, entertainment, media, information and broadcasting, applied arts and design, landscape architecture, museums and gallery professionals, promotion, marketing, So we continue to grow in the Economic Development Department. I started when there were about 35 of us, and we've doubled our, and so we're offering a lot more programs. So appreciate your patience this evening, and stand for any questions that you may have.
All right. And that was a presentation, so any counselors, if you guys, have anything moving forward, we actually put them on an actual agenda item. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next presentation is by David Luna, interim president of the Las Vegas San Miguel Chamber of Commerce, giving a quarterly report. And Mr. Elias is here in his place, I believe.
Mayor and council, thank you for having me today. Chair David Luna apologizes for not being here. He's actually at a middle school wrestling meet, so yeah. So I'm going to be short and sweet on this. I apologize for not having some backup earlier, but I'm just going to go over a few bullet points of the contract that's between the city and the Las Vegas San Miguel Chamber of Commerce. So the biggest thing is that we are fully staffed at the visitor center 7 days a week. The last numbers, as far as October 31st, was 4,446 people have come through the visitor center, and that is significantly higher than last year. The whole year for 2023, we had 4,126. So that's going to be a bigger number for 2024, and a lot of that is contributed to the visitor center being fully staffed. We didn't have it on weekends for a long time because of an incident. So because of that, you can really see the numbers grow. And the other big thing I would say is the Meadow City Motor Show that we had put on in September. It was a really good turnout, about 118 participants in the car show, and the park was full as far as people attending the event, many vendors. We had some sponsors. We had DJ, semi-DJ. So that was a really good turnout, and we are going to have that again next year. So hopefully that becomes an annual event that we have every year. The other thing I want to say about the visitor center is that the numbers are actually a little lower than we've had previously. So once we get this every year consistently going, the numbers are just going to go up. And as far as what we can do with those numbers and analytically, as far as why people are coming to Las Vegas, the reasons, we can just get better and better as far as the data, and using those for the purpose they are is to get people to stay in Las Vegas. And then I would just want to say one quick thing about the 40-year Red Dawn Reunion and Film Festival. It's still tentatively going to happen. New Mexico Highlands University has agreed to make a bust of Patrick Swayze. I'm pretty sure you guys are well aware of that. So that is for sure going to happen. And then the last two things I wanted to say is just we've made a commercial buildings available list of Las Vegas. So this is a list of building space for rent or lease or to sell or to buy. And we're continuously updating this, and it's going to be on our Facebook. It's already on our Facebook. It's already on our website. And it's just a way of people knowing the available buildings for commercial use in the area. So we're going to be continually working on that to update that, and that list is there. And the last thing is, for sure, we are looking for one more member of our board. We just voted in one member, and that is Angie Lister. So we're really glad to have her back in a capacity with the chamber. So Angie Lister is going to be our board member, and we're looking for one more. And Councilwoman Perea Casey, she just had formally resigned from the board. So as far as a city representative, we would hope we could get one going as soon as possible so we can keep the board full, so we can start making progress with chamber stuff for future years. And I guess the last thing I would say, I just want to recognize all the contributions that the previous president of the board made, Mr. Philip Martinez. Fortunately, I think everybody knows he passed away this September. And I just want to hope that everybody knows that the stuff he did, the time and effort he put in to bring the chamber back from the situation it was in. So without Philip Martinez and all his hard work, the chamber wouldn't be where it is today. And for the opportunities that he gave me, Angie, and a lot of people that are working for the chamber now. So I just want to hope everybody knows the work he put in for the chamber. And hopefully we can continue to bring the chamber into a place that it's a strong asset for the community and for the city. And if anybody has any questions?
Yeah. Thank you, Elias, for stepping up and filling that role, and appreciate the update. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next presentation is by David Marcus, our gas director, on collaborative efficiency and best practices in the gas department to promote teamwork.
Pro Tem Montoya.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. I would ask that since you do the appointments of boards and commissions, and there's a vacancy in the chambers, I would be willing to partake in that. If there's no objections from Mayor and Council, and if you have to put it on the next meeting's agenda for approval.
What I'll do is I'll just ask the remaining council members, and then,
Pardon me?
I'll ask the remaining council members, and then we'll make the decision.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, fellow people that are attending, everybody's listening. My name is David Marcus. I'm the City of Las Vegas Gas Director, also Interim Solid Waste Director. I am going to be presenting for you guys a presentation in reference onto what's taking place with the gas department and the efficiency in the gas department, a teamwork approach.
Councilor, you could hear? Councilor Casey?
If you could speak a little louder, that would be great.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so in brief right here, I'm going to go over this slideshow, and there are some pictures formulated as well with the slideshow, and we're going to get into it going into the first page right here. It's natural gas. Every day presents a fresh opportunity to boost work efficiency through teamwork by prioritizing collaboration, sharing ideas, and supporting one another. We can streamline processes and enhance overall productivity, leading to a greater success in our projects and initiatives. Importance of collaboration. Effective collaboration leads to better decision-making and problem-solving. When team members share their expertise and insights, it fosters a more innovative environment. The Natural Gas Department displays this by prioritizing employee enhancement through continued learning, such as steel pipeline welding, OQ qualification, buff fusion certification, sidewall fusion, directional drill equipment, leak survey, and valve maintenance certifications. These are just a little bit of certifications and qualifications that are listed in order to move forward as a gas technician or a gas operator within the gas department. Staff positions created and failed to include compliance officer, field supervisor, and administrative aide. I just wanted to include these positions that have been filled within the gas department within the past 4 or 5 months. And compliance officer is something that's never been utilized within the natural gas department. And I want to get into a little bit of detail on how critical this position is going to be with helping this department move forward, not only in violations with PRC, but also in our public awareness for our community. Our field supervisor, very also critical and vital position within the department that also just got filled recently. This is going to be with assisting us in our field maintenance and anything that's taking place out on our field. Our administrative aide, our gas department, as long as I've been there, I've been with the gas department, I've been with the city of Las Vegas for 18 years now. The city of Las Vegas gas department has not once ever had their own administrative aide. We have one now, which has been vital in helping our department move forward. Safety. Safety has always been and will continue to be the foremost priority for the natural gas department. Ensuring the well-being of employees, the community, and the environment drives our commitment to implementing rigorous safety protocols and continuous training, fostering a culture of vigilance and responsibility, conducting annual leak surveys for distribution, service, and transmission lines. I want to just elaborate on that a little bit. From our steps on being able to conduct annual leak surveys, this past annual leak survey, we were down to only 3 underground leaks. And the rest of the leaks were all above ground leaks, which were minor and minute. So we've definitely been mitigating and been able to mitigate a lot of underground gas leaks with this service of the annual leak survey. Maintaining our cathodic protection for 53 miles of our transmission line. Valve maintenance. Our valve maintenance consists of not only our critical valves, but our non-critical valves and our isolation valves to our transmission line as well. The picture posted is some of our guys doing some welding work. This was just for picture purposes, so I know it does label safety. The guys and the welder was turned off at the time. I made them pose to shoot a picture. I did want to clarify that. Public awareness. Public outreach and awareness about natural gas is crucial for promoting safe usage and understanding its environmental impact. Educational campaigns can inform communities about benefits, safety measures, and the role of natural gas. Recently, we did send out a survey through via mail stuffers. We did send out 5,200 of these surveys, which consist for our natural gas customers. We have been receiving a lot of positive input. This survey is going to assist us in moving forward on whatever other public awareness or public input we need to distribute out or contribute to keeping our community informed on what's taking place with natural gas and the safeties that follow. Radio outreach and PSAs. We've been formulating the department as well to be able to be speaking on behalf of what's taking place with the department roles, anything that's coming up even now for winter purposes, safety guidelines that they need to prepare for in assistance for them to mitigate preparation for cold weather, public outreach and education via newly created compliance officer position. This is going to be, like I mentioned earlier, a critical assistance on where they're going to be able to help in their role for compliance. What we want to do with the gas department is being able to not only just address people through radio, but being able to formulate presentations for our youth, our senior citizens, high schoolers, our college level people, to where we're educating them on the importance of natural gas and the safety steps that come behind them. Newly updated Mullins Main Regulating Station. This right here is newly updated Mullins Main Regulating Station building. This building consists of newly installed dual pane windows, new turbine rooftop fans, soffit mesh panels, fresh paint, and trim utilizing industrial colors. This right here is just an image of a building. It may look like just a building, but the importance of this building actually shelters our Mullins Main Regulating Station, where it actually regulates into distributing into our community from our transmission line. Now, this building, we did have the pleasure of being able to show this building to a few of our councilmen probably about 4 months ago. And if you guys remember seeing this building about 4 or 5 months ago, this building was pretty run down. We had some turbine fans that were missing, windows that were broken. The paint was faded, probably the original paint from probably the 70s or 80s. So to be able to see this building up and renovated is it's a huge plus for the department and for the property as well for our surrounding community members. What's next? The future of the natural gas department will be characterized by continued progression toward achieving department goals, along with advancements in safety and utilization of collaboration to enhance efficiency through teamwork. Ongoing and future projects include Porter Valencia line replacement. This is an ongoing project that is actually started about 2 weeks ago, and I'm proud to sit here and say that we've already installed, I want to say, 200 feet of replacement for this line, which is going to be polyethylene line from the steel line replacement that's currently needed to be done. This was something that has been an ongoing thorn of having to try to keep the cathodic protection up and with the short in this line. So to have this line replaced is going to be a benefit for the department and for our community. Employee cross-training. The gas department consists of cross-training on a daily basis. We have welders, we have operators, we have people who do valve maintenance, we have staff that do leak surveys, continuous service work. Cross-training is going to be a vital instrument moving forward and helping this department strive as everybody will be able to fill in for any short staff periods. Energy WorldNet for OQ qualification. This is going to be a new vital instrument utilized for the City of Las Vegas Gas Department, which is something that has never been implemented or done in the past. In the years past, we used to bring in a third party to OQ qualify our staff. Right now, we have a third party through Texas, which is going to be beneficial on not only helping us move forward on OQ qualifying us, but also helping us on any new codes that need to be updated along with our O&M manual reviews. AMR and AMI program system update. This is going to be an ongoing project that we are formulating with the water department along with customer service, and we're in communication with everything needed or steps going to be needed to move forward on helping our automated meter reading system. That concludes my presentation. I just wanted to share a little bit of an insight of what's been taking place with the gas department and with the staff and crew. And I do want to close out by thanking the gas department crew for all their hard works and efforts that they do put into this department. And thank you guys again. My name is David Marcus. I'm the natural gas director. If any of you guys do need to get in contact with me, my cell number is 505-429-0256. Email dmarcus@lasvegasnm.gov. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Good presentation. Mr. Manager?
David, you and I work incredibly well together, and I'm so proud of you. Every time we get together, you impress me. You have ambition and drive and a vision, and I feel like that had always been hidden in the past, and you weren't allowed to just be yourself and grow. And I just want to say I'm so proud to have you as our director for the gas department. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate that very much, Tim. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next on our agenda is approval of minutes for October 9th and October 16th, 2024.
Councilors?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes for October 9th and October 16th. They were perfect.
All right, a motion by Councilor Casey, and I have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Martinez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The ayes have it.
Mr. Mayor, at this time, we also had a closed meeting on October 21st, 2024. And as per our Open Meetings Act, we do have to read something into the record, and Councilor Martinez is going to go ahead and do that at this time.
Thank you. A closed meeting of the governing body was called on October 21st, 2024, for the purpose of discussing matters subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation pertaining to discussion with the Sulzer Group and Singleton Schreiber contracted by the city for services related to the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire, in which the city of Las Vegas is or may become a participant as permitted by Section 10-15-1, H7 of the New Mexico Meetings Act, NMSA 1978. After proper notice, the meeting was convened at 2:05 New Mexico PM. Roll call was taken, and all members of the governing body were present, with the exception of Councilor David Ulibarri. Only those matters mentioned were discussed, and no action was taken in the meeting, and the meeting adjourned at 3:28 PM.
Thank you, Counselor Martinez.
Mr. Mayor,
For the record, right?
That's for the records.
Mr. Mayor. Where was that on the agenda? On our agenda?
That was not on the agenda. It's just as per our Open Meetings Act that we have to, has to be read into the minutes.
It shouldn't have been on
During the
part of
minutes.
agenda?
No. As long as it's read into the record
Okay. Is that
during
be-
the,
is-
during the minutes.
And
As it was,
is that because we didn't have it advertised as that?
it was advertised as a closed meeting, so it was, there was no open meeting during that time.
And there should have been?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. And if I may read that into the record.
Yes, please.
It consists of two items. Our first item is request approval of addendum number 3 to contract 382521 with AECom for dams and reservoirs engineering services. And item 2, request approval of addendum number 3 to contract 3827-21 with Sauter Miller and Associates for water distribution services.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Casey?
I move that we approve both consent agenda items.
I have a motion by Councilor Casey. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor.
Second by Pro Tem Montoya. Roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya? Yes. Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries. Moving on to our business items. Business item number 2, request approval of a contractual agreement for inmate confinement with the Las Vegas Police Department and San Miguel Detention Center. We have our Police Chief, Mr. Caleb Marcus.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager. So we were able to sit down and speak with the county and negotiate our confinement contract that we have with them. There were several changes to the contract. Some of it was wording and some of it was the cost of the increased cost to detain some of our inmates. So the daily rate went from $90 to $125 for municipal court detainees only. There's a $20 booking fee that was added for anyone not charged under municipal statutes or ordinances. And then in some of the paragraphs, there was some changes to add in reference to an MOA. And the other change was we're able to get a copy of the policy and procedures from the jail when requested.
Mr. Mayor.
Pro Tem.
I have a question. Mr. City Manager and Chief, did an attorney review this contract?
Yes, sir. An attorney reviewed the contract and made the,
Is that our city attorney?
yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And I just, Mr. Montgomery, and I don't know, I know we have our finance director here, just for the record, we're okay financially on this additional cost?
Yes, Mayor, we are. I sat in on the meetings as well. I'm fully aware of the changes from the previous contract to this one. I feel very comfortable with it, and financially, this is budgeted.
Mr. Mayor.
Pro Tem.
What's the annual cost?
Was it?
It
just
really
depends.
does differ year to year. I could give you, for instance, in the month of July, we only had one arrest for a municipal court, and I think it was around $120 for the municipal charging side. That doesn't reflect our district or magistrate warrants or new charges through magistrate court.
We don't have a number.
Not exactly for the year last year.
Okay. With that, Mr. Mayor, I was just trying to compare fundings for feeding and fundings for confining. But with that, Mr. Mayor, I will accept this contract and make a motion to this agreement for the inmates confinement in the Las Vegas Police Department and San Miguel Detention Center.
Motion by Pro Tem Montoya, second by Councilman Martinez. Roll call.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya? Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries. Moving on to our next item, request approval of out-of-state travel for Commander Elias Rael to attend 2025 Axon Week Conference in Phoenix, Arizona on April 21st through the 26th, 2025. Mr. Marquez.
Good evening once again. This conference is through Axon. Currently, we use many of their products, from our dash cams to their body-worn cameras, our tasers. We also have some of their products on our weapons, on our holsters. So when we do unholster, their products do trigger our cameras. Axon has really cornered the market and is an awesome company to where we're able to download all of our evidence, send our videos, redact. They coincide with our dash cameras. We're able to create cases. This conference is really going to highlight some data-driven policing and safer city incentives, as well as officer wellness programs and performance in the field. As technology is advancing, we would like to stay on top of that and try to move forward. And the time and date that we're in, we really got to rely on technology to fill the gaps for short-staffed. It's not something that is just common for us. It's common throughout the state. You'll see Bernalillo and Albuquerque, all these other bigger cities that are having the same issues at bringing technology into the community. And I think if we could get ahead of this and really look into the data-driven policing and the safer city incentives and try to stay up to date on our technology, and that's why we want to send him in person. It's going to give him the opportunity to meet with other agencies and see what's working and what's not, and just kind of build some bonds with Axon and with the other agencies that partner with them.
Entertain a motion,
Mayor?
Councilman Martinez.
Yes, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion. I will move to approve the out-of-state travel for Commander Elias Rael to attend the 2025 Axon Week Conference in Phoenix, Arizona, April 21st through the 26th, 2025.
Motion by Councilman Martinez. Councilor Casey, was that a second?
Yes.
Second by Councilor Casey. Discussion? No? Roll call.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Martinez, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries. Moving on to our last item. Item number 4, request approval of resolution number 24-32, a budget adjustment for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. We have our finance director, Mr. Morris Madrid.
Mayor and council, this is basically a housekeeping item. This is for the Santa in the Park event. This fund was not included in the original budget. If you look at the supporting documentation, the total request to budget is $7,814. $2,814 of that is already in cash balance. We're requesting to budget an additional $5,000 in revenue so that we can raise money and spend it for the event in December. Your approval is requested.
Councilors?
Go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution number 24-32, budget adjustment.
Motion by Pro Tem Montoya. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Martinez. Roll call.
Oh, okay.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn by Pro Tem Montoya. Do I have a second?
Second.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank
Council.
you.
All right.